Head coach Marcus Freeman is joining us. Thank you for the time, Coach. Go ahead and start us off with an opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions from the media. Go ahead.
Well, obviously didn't finish the outcome that we wanted. We're obviously disappointed. I thought the kids prepared tremendously. I thought the coaching staff did a great job, but at the end of the day, we didn't execute when it mattered most. But these guys, man, it's a special group. And for those that aren't coming back, they're going to be greatly missed. But more than anything, there's a group I think that's one, disappointed, but two, motivated to right what happened today and to start the progression for the future. As I told them 28 days ago, this is about right now. This was about finishing this season off the right way. Well, it didn't happen, and it's okay. All we can do now is start focusing on what we'll do as we move forward to make sure that we're successful the next time we're on the field. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Make sure you are muted at this time, and please use the raised hand function to request a question, and I'll call it on you. If you don't have the raised hand function as an option, just send me a direct message. When you ask your question, please state your name and affiliation. Starting off with George. Go ahead, George.
Hey, Coach. Sorry about the loss today. What is your message back to the fan base? You know, it's your first game in as the head coach. You said a lot there in your opening statement, but what is the driving message back to the fan base in South Bend?
Well, they deserve a winning product. They deserve a team that every week goes out there and wins. And so it's our job to make sure that we prepare and we do everything necessary to give this team, the fan base, the university, and everybody else that deserves a really, really good product out on that field. So we'll get back to work. You know, that's the only thing we know how to do. And win or lose, we're going to get back to work, and we're going to find ways to improve and make sure that we're even more prepared and have a better opportunity to have success next time we're on the field.
Alex Dusky.
Hey, Coach, I know you said this isn't the way that you wanted your first game to go today, but can you just kind of tell me what it was like on the field with your first game as head coach of this program?
Well, it's, you know, like everything else that's happened in these first 28 days, it's an honor. It's a surreal feeling at times, and I tried to take it in, and I tried to, understand the platform you're on. But at the same time, as the foot hit the ball, it's time to go, and it's time to lead, and it's time to be the head coach. And so just want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to give these kids a chance to have success.
Pete Sampson.
Marcus, a couple schematically in the second half, what did Oklahoma State do differently offensively to sort of get you guys moving in some bad directions? And then was there anything that happened today, that you learned about yourself as a head coach the first time that may inform kind of what you want the rest of the offseason to look like, where you want things to go next?
Yeah, they did a good job at, getting into some 10 personnel, which they really hadn't shown much all year. And it was good. And they made some good second half adjustments offensively and defensively to stop what we were doing offensively and to kind of exploit some things defensively. So they did a good job, and you got to give them credit where credit's due. But for me, obviously, as the leader of this program, it's a pit in your stomach, as I told the group a minute ago, that you want to bottle it up and you want to remember how this feels. And the honeymoon stage is over, right? The whole, hey, new head coach, it's a great story. No, it's about having a great product, and it's about having a great team. And so we have to make sure that it's about developing this team for next year, right? This year's over. So everything we do from now moving forward is going to be development and making sure that we're prepared to have success.
Patrick Engel.
Marcus, was Tyler Buckner an option for you guys today? Was he available? And if so, kind of what went into you guys' management, I guess, of how to do that?
Yeah, he was definitely an option. You look at the way our offense was moving the ball first half, I don't think Coach Reese wanted to make that change, and he wanted to keep that thing going. And as you get to the second half, they did a good job of getting some 3 and outs, but obviously not until the fourth quarter did the lead change in terms of who was in the lead. And so I think at that point, you're just going to ride with Jack and Jack played well, man. He played really well. Obviously there was a couple plays we wish we can take back, but we can't. And so I'm proud as heck of Jack and I'm looking forward to seeing this QB competition as we move forward.
Eric Hansen.
Hey, Coach, a couple questions. One is, could you evaluate the offensive line play today? The second is, you had a big to-do list beyond getting ready for the bowl. Do you just take a deep breath now, or do you have to plunge right into coaching hires, portal perusal, and those kind of things?
Yeah, I think for the most part, again, I haven't gone and evaluated it, but they protected the quarterback. And again, it's the tale of two halves in terms of the first half, you scored, 28 points, I think, offensively. We're moving the ball. They're protecting the quarterback. And then the second half, obviously, things didn't go that way. And so we have to go back and Tommy and look and say, okay, what did the defense do second half schematically that gave us issues? And let's try to find a way to make sure that never happens again. As far as taking a deep breath, I'm more motivated now to go, right? And to, let's everything we do from staff to personnel to recruiting to whatever it is that this organization needs to improve. That's all my mindset is.
Timothy O'Malley.
Coach, that was certainly the fastest tempo you saw this year as a defense. Was it something you were prepared for, and how hard was it to combat that? And the second part of my question was, they seemed to start targeting Martin against Clarence Lewis. Was there any way to help that, or would that compromise your defense too much in the back end?
Yeah, we knew they were going to go fast, and they did. And we prepared for it. But at the end of the day, they still executed a little bit better than we did defensively, and we wanted to play some zone early in the game, and they were starting to exploit some of that zone. So we said, okay, let's change and play a little bit more man. And you know what? I trust Silu. And you know what? That guy made some plays. He's a heck of a player. Number one's a heck of a player. And, we got to do a better job maybe mixing it up. But you know what? Hey, man, Silu's going to do great things for us, and he's done great things for us. And you know what? I wouldn't trade him for the world.
Doc.
You were able to get some pass rush in that first quarter against Spencer Sanders. What changed as the game went on that negated the pass rush?
Well, you start to see they run some quarterback draws. They start some, and all of a sudden you get pass rush and the quarterback scrambles up the middle. Well, we're going to tell our defenders, hey, don't run past the quarterback. So it's a chess match. And so we want to get pass rush, but we also don't want the quarterback to scramble right up the middle of our defense. So, they did a good job of mixing up. They did a good job of getting the ball out of quarterback's hand. And so that could slow down your pass rush. Your pass rush is non-existent if they can get the ball out of his hand so fast. And so they did a good job. Again, kudos to them. And we got to look at how we can fix some things and make sure we're better prepared.
Greg Moore. Greg Moore, are you with us?
There we go. Sorry about that. I was on mute and couldn't find it. Coach, this is obviously a tough loss. I'm Greg Moore. I'm with the Arizona Republic. I'm just curious whether you've had a chance to grasp the enormity of the program, the enormity of the job. And, we're thinking about the Newt Rockne and the Heismans and the championships. And did that factor into your mind at all during the preparation? And now that you've had a chance to digest it, what does that feel like to be in charge of a program this big?
Yeah, the enormous responsibility the minute you're named head coach of the University of Notre Dame football team. And so I understand the expectations. You can't focus on that. The only thing you can focus on is your guys. The only thing you can focus on is enhancing what you do. And that's where my focus is. It's not about, hey, do you know the pressure that's on you? No, it's about, what, everything in my power that I can do to make sure that this team improves every single day and that we improve as an organization in terms of how we recruit, our culture, how we develop these guys. That's where my mindset is. It's not about how big this opportunity is. It's about, hey, taking care of these guys and making sure we're helping them improve and reach their goals.
Angelo?
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the honeymoon period being over. I'm curious, how much do you feel this loss maybe does hurt the excitement for the start of your era here at Notre Dame with the fan base, and in terms of just the excitement around the program that you have had for the first month since you've been on board as head coach?
It might disappoint some people, but I understand where we're going in the future. And I understand, you know what, we have a lot of games ahead of us, and we're going to use this game as motivation. We're going to use this game to look back and say, you remember that first one? Look where we've come from there. And so sometimes you got to look at it as a blessing, man, that, hey, we used this. Maybe it wasn't this honeymoon phase that kept going boom, boom. All of a sudden, everything's good, and bam, reality hits. You know what? We got to work a little bit harder. We got to make sure that we evaluate everything we do a little bit more so that the next time we step on that field, we're prepared a little bit more to have success.
And Clark?
Marcus, if you can hear me, can you expand on the game calling of Tommy Rees, and how was communication with Tommy throughout the game and Mike Elston?
You know, it was obviously a first time for me being on the offensive side of the ball and listening to their communication. I thought it was really good. Again, the play calling and execution are two different things. Tommy did a great job of getting a call in. Kind of like it felt like he had a great rhythm, and he did a great job. You know, and it's easy to look at the first half and second half and say, hey, it didn't go as well in the second half. Yeah, it didn't, but that has nothing to do with the play calls. It's about execution. We got to execute better. We got to coach better. We got to execute better on both sides of the ball. And so we're all going to look at ourselves, right? We're all going to point the finger at ourselves and say, what can I do as an individual to make sure that we're more prepared? And if we can get everybody in that locker room, everybody that's involved with our football team to look at themselves and say, hey, my role is important as the head coach. And what do I have to do to make sure that I execute my role better than the person I'm going against? If we get everybody to look at themselves like that, we're going to be really, really successful.
Tyler?
Hey, Marcus, I know you guys were up big there at the end of the second half, but when Oklahoma State cuts into that lead and you guys get the ball back with, I think it was 35 seconds, 3 timeouts, was there any thought of maybe tacking on a field goal or trying to push the ball downfield there at the end of the first half?
No, I kind of talked to Tommy and he said, hey, man, if we take a shot, they still have a few timeouts. And so that's not what we wanted. We felt really good with the 28-14 lead going into halftime. Let's be smart and make sure that we don't give this team another opportunity to score points. And so I thought that was a great decision by, the communication between me and Tommy, and I wouldn't change that.
And just a quick follow-up to that, how would you assess, obviously your first time being in charge of all of those different type of logistical things, how would you look back? And then I know you'll probably watch the film and whatnot and get a better idea of how you fared in that, but how would you assess how you did?
Well, not as well as you wanted. You obviously wanted a victory, but I think we all can learn from it, myself included. Look at every situation, say, hey, is there something you could do differently? Is there a timeout you could have called? Is there, hey, something defensively you could have done? Maybe a suggestion offensively we could have done. It's a learning situation. It's a learning opportunity. You like to learn from wins, but this is going to be a learning opportunity from a loss. And as long as everybody learns from this, we'll be fine.
Last question, Aidan.
Hey, Marcus, just two quick questions. One, how did you feel Mike Elston did calling plays for the defense today? And then secondly, was there any thoughts of punting on that 4th and 7 deep in your own half at the end of the game, or was it always going to be going for it?
I think Elston did a great job, and I thought he prepared like crazy. I thought this defense was prepared, and they gave us a few wrinkles that we hadn't prepared for, and maybe we hadn't seen them do on film. And again, as I said earlier, kudos to them. They did a good job. And then, no, I did not consider punting with 3 minutes left just because we were reeling a little bit on defense. right? And that, hey, we hadn't been able to get the big stops that we needed. So let's try to put our hat on our offense and see if we can get a 4th down conversion and try to score. And so obviously it didn't go that way. We still got the ball back, had a chance with a minute left to try to get an onside kick to win. And it didn't happen. So let's hopefully next time we don't put ourselves in that situation.
All right, Coach. Thank you for the time.
All right. Thanks, guys.